If you are enjoying this podcast and other podcasts on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network, be sure to check out the Dragon Wagon Shop. Awesome t-shirts and mugs from your favorite shows so you can tout your podcast pride all while supporting your favorite podcast network. And make sure to check it often for new items and limited time designs. Shop now at dragonwagonradio.com/shop and get your dragon swag on.
I think we're up and rolling.
Okay, you think so? Hey, look, wait
the
for
red dot is going, and magic is happening.
We're here.
Seeing red.
We're seeing.
Just calm down. Just relax. Welcome to another episode of The Hell With This, everybody. My name is Mark Heiliger. I am with...
I am... Blah!
That's Chad Peter.
That's not my name.
And we've got a third wheel today.
Third wheel.
No, it's more stable than two wheels. Three's always better.
It's Matt Hingstman here.
Hey!
How many times you been on the show now, Matt? Like
this is my third, I think.
Should have been more.
Yeah, I'm busy.
We're all busy. That's why we only release one episode every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You got some big news, Matt.
I do. I got engaged recently.
Oh, I was just thinking about your trip to Europe.
Oh, well, that too.
You still smell like Czechoslovakia.
They were the same thing. I smell like paprika. I asked my girlfriend to marry me. She said yes, by the way. Spoilers.
Woo!
Thank God.
Yeah.
It's always kind of touch and go, right?
Someone to finally make you an honest man.
Yeah, finally.
So what was the trip? Because it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't know you were even leaving the country.
We did a European river cruise along the Danube.
Nice. I did one of those.
Yeah?
But I did it in Germany.
Yeah, well, that was one of the places we visited.
Yeah.
We were in Hungary, we were in Vienna, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Austria.
Was it
in Germany?
In Germany.
Like an 8-day cruise or something?
Yeah, it was like 8 days, 7 or 8 days, and then we took an extension into Prague for 3 days.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I saw the pictures you were posting online. They let you off the boat at some point.
Oh yeah. Like every day they dock in a different city and you go walk around, take a little tour.
I know nothing about travel, tourism,
different than an ocean cruise.
Yeah.
But even ocean cruises will dock and you go walk around. But this every day you're in a different. You go to bed. A river cruise is great because the hotel goes with you. Yeah. You go to bed and you wake up in a different city.
Takes the travel out.
Yeah. I mean, ours was different in a way. Like it was a boat, a bike and barge tour.
Oh, that's cool.
So you'd barge down the river. They'd let you off with a bunch of bikes, and then you'd ride to the next port, and the boat would meet you there. And then you'd get on the boat and sleep on it, and then it would take you to the next town.
And if you were slow on the bike, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah. So what did you? I'm assuming Nikki had no idea. Was she?
She didn't know, but what
they always suspect, I think.
Yeah, what happened is exactly what I thought. So she wasn't suspecting, but she wondered if I would.
Yeah.
She wasn't suspecting; she was expecting.
Yeah. So she didn't have any evidence or reason to believe other than, hey, Europe is a good spot to get engaged in 2 years. So so she was right.
2 years. Moving so fast. I think I'm coming up on 9. That's another story though. Yeah. We've talked about that before on the Halloween 3 episode, I think, when you got engaged.
Yeah?
I think so. I think this all came up. We don't have to go down my path again.
Come on, Mark.
What have you guys been up to? Nice.
Work.
Yeah, pretty much just. No, also, I'm going to work after this, so it's this is why we do it at ass crack in the morning on Sunday when we should be sleeping, but too much work.
Yeah, if I'm not working, I'm dealing with home maintenance or weirdo neighbors. The people behind us are telling us we have to pay for tree trimming over their property. There is no law that says that's the case, but now we're worried about like retaliation from these people after we say no, and You can't trust people in LA.
Are they
Can't.
Nope.
cartel or something?
They could be.
Cut your head off.
It might be.
Put it on your tortoise
Oh
in the
man,
backyard.
that'd be fucked up.
Mark has a tortoise, by the way.
Yeah, he will not be a
How
guest
is your
on the
tortoise? We haven't
podcast.
talked about your tortoise in a while.
He'll be going to sleep in a month or so.
Like forever?
You only sleep
They-
once every couple months?
Like,
Well, they
what
hibernate.
kind of sleep are we talking about here? Mobster sleep? Like
Hibernation. They sleep from the end of fall to mid-spring somewhere. So like October through March, he'll
at what
be.
point?
sure?
At what point in like?
Maybe I just find a new tortoise out there every year when he wakes up.
At what point in Darwinism does a creature like? Is it able to actually fall asleep and be so strong that it's not going to die?
Yeah, they're not
And
getting
that, I mean, obviously, a
That
bear
is-
makes sense to me.
It's the miracle of
tortoise?
mutation.
A tortoise does not.
But
So what
it's-
does it mutate into a rock so no one wants to eat it?
They kind of do look like rocks. When he falls asleep every night and we have to go out in the yard to find him, sometimes I'll walk past him 5 times without seeing him.
Wow.
Because I'm an idiot and I don't know
Have
what
you
a tortoise
stepped
looks
on it
like.
by accident?
I almost have, but I've never actually stepped on him. Yeah, nothing so crazy as getting engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What you
Are
been
there
up to?
kids in the future?
One step at a time.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Yeah, understandable.
not the immediate future. That's
mean,
not why we got engaged.
Okay. Wasn't your plan. Some people plan to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the whole point.
What are you pointing at me for? What are you doing,
What one?
Matt? What have you been up to?
I was working on a show for 3 months, and then literally the day after that ended, I went home to the East Coast for a week, hang out with some friends. Then literally the day after I got back from that, I went on my 11-day European river cruise. And now I'm back. I finally have like a day off here or there.
You're going to blow it doing this.
So life has been weird the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's been weird.
Just been bouncing around. Are you going straight back to work? Are you taking some time?
I'm trying to take some time off.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's hard to say no, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the jobs come, because
Yeah. I got texted a million times at work Friday, and I was like, no. I mean, I'm busy, whoever's listening. I'm booked on Friday.
My trouble is when a job ends for me and I got nothing else lined up, I typically go for the first thing that comes my way because I'm so paranoid. Like, oh no, if I say no now, if I'm being too picky or something,
Yeah.
man, that could be it. Like those people I just said no to will never ask me again.
Yeah. I have a little bit
Because
of that, but not really.
I usually act like a complete dick about it too. Yeah, it's the industry is so sort of hit and miss. It's a lot of hurry up and wait, even on the macro scale, not just day to day.
For sure.
But when it rains, it pours, and I can get 4 different job offers essentially, or asking if I'm available in a week, and then go months without hearing anything.
Yeah.
And it's not all during pilot season. It's really, I haven't had any real time off outside of like a Christmas break, something like that. I haven't had any real time off in probably 3 years,
Wow.
which sucks
You should take a vacation.
because I feel like I eventually I'll burn out, but I'm trying real hard not to.
I recommend river cruises. They're
Okay.
a lot of fun. On vacation.
Maybe we'll do it on the Mississippi
There you go.
because I don't have a passport.
You should get one of those.
I guess so, in case I need to flee the country one day.
Yeah.
Never know.
it's tricky. The moment you start saying no to jobs, then it's like you wonder, you know, when you say it too many times, because that's kind of the rut I got into, 10 years ago. Just was saying no to everything. And eventually it can, you got to make money to survive.
Yeah, but I can think of a few times where I said yes to something, and it ended up being a real bad idea. Like, it was not a fun job,
sure.
and it didn't help my career or anything like that. Nobody look at my IMDb page. I'm not trying to send you down a rabbit hole here. Should we get into this movie talk?
I mean, it's your pick this week. I know the movie you're gonna present to us.
I mentioned it last
Matt
week.
has
I have
no idea.
Chances are I haven't seen it because I haven't seen most movies.
All right, I'll give you a few
He'll
clues.
probably regret
clues,
coming
okay.
here.
Oh boy. In the realm of the senses.
Okay, it was released in 1981.
Okay.
It stars Jeff Bridges
Okay.
and John Hurd. Do you know John Hurd?
I know
Have
John
you seen
Hurt.
Chud?
Yeah.
I've not seen Chud.
Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers? No? That's the movie Chad's parents named him after.
Oh,
Chud.
yeah?
They were like, how can we honor Chud without being too on the nose? How about Chad? Third choice was Chid. But that wasn't good. It has a 91% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
But on IMDb, which is like user ratings, only 6.9.
I've always wondered this. How does Rotten Tomatoes properly and accurately get a rating for a movie that's 1981?
They're looking at old reviews and current reviews. People will go back and watch older movies, kind of like us, but like in a real publication, not just some
publication.
A real publication.
So if I go like a Blade Runner score on Rotten Tomatoes, it's probably higher than it was when it came out in 1980.
Yes, absolutely, because it's using more recent reviews.
Right, interesting.
So really, this was a 12%.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. It took them a few weeks after releasing to get the good reviews, and that's when people kind of thought, oh, okay, let's have more life later. But it was kind of too late for United Artists, which was
I feel like you're going to tell me the title of the movie, and I'm still going to be like, nah, I don't know what that is.
I have no. Matt, I know the title of the movie. I have no idea what it is.
Okay. Different sources will tell you how much money it made in 1981. Box Office Mojo says it made $1.7 million.
It's not a lot. Okay.
It's not a lot because the budget was probably five and up. And out of the 113 movies released in 1981, this came in 97th place. Oof. Other sources will say it made actually $0 in the box office.
Wow. And yet it has its own Blu-ray.
It has its own Blu-ray. What's the name of that company? It's like a Criterion competitor now.
Twilight.
Yeah,
Twilight makes Blu-ray, so it's like 3,000 copies of a Blu-ray.
I probably would have bought that. I probably would have gotten the Blu-ray if I hadn't just bought it on Google Play for streaming.
So is this a good movie that we're gonna? Would you say it's a good movie?
Yes, I think it's a good movie, and I'm giving it a second watch because I think there's more to it than I saw the first time.
Oh Jesus!
It is a.
Is this gonna be like when we watch Blade of the Immortal and we all were ready to cut ourselves?
No, it won't be that bad. It's a neo-noir, like sun-baked thriller kind of movie that doesn't actually care about the crime at the center of it. It's more about the characters.
Okay.
Nothing. You're getting nothing, right? Okay, the movie is called Cutter's Way. Cutter's Way. No bells, right?
Maybe one.
Okay. The word way, is that the one bell? Like, that's been used in other titles.
Carlito's Way.
Yeah, Carlito's Way. It could be what you're thinking of. The only reason I've ever heard of this movie was because in film school, I made a short called Jack Cutter, P.I. And
maybe that's why.
I think it was one of my...
But had you seen it at that point?
No. Oh, okay. Nope, never heard of it. But I just thought Jack Cutter was a cool character name. Yeah, especially for a private detective.
Matt's already yawning.
Oh yeah, it's a good name.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, the third and last time Matt will be on the podcast.
Somebody in film school, one of my teachers, made some reference to Cutter's Way. Like, oh, does it have to do with that? I'm like, no, why would it? That was made before I was born, man. And that's why I heard of it, and I read the little plot synopsis, and it sounded interesting. So I put it on my list on Netflix back when they had discs.
Yeah,
real discs, and I haven't been getting discs for at least 7 years now. But I never watched it. I eventually rented it online, gave it a look, and here we are today.
All right.
I will say from the outset, this seems like a Mark movie. Just based on what I've seen about it.
It's I guess we should save some of this stuff for after we watch it, but I think there are some Big Lebowski connections that will be interesting. Not only Jeff Bridges in the movie, but it's a similar sort of... No, it's not even a similar aesthetic. I don't know how to describe it. I'm really bad at talking about movies. Why am I here? Let's just roll
the wrong podcast.
Let's just roll the trailer and we'll talk about this later.
Give this clown enough to cover any damage. You'll get it back in a couple hours. Come on.
Introducing Alex Cutter.
You're kind of sexy.
Do you have an appointment?
Hey, Alex, how do I look?
Hey, you look like a fat man on a horse, Georgie.
Huh?
Black's rich.
Cutter's wife, Mo.
The, Richard Bone fan club is now complete. This, for instance, is a tomato.
Food, huh? Yeah, I remember food. People used to have to eat it during Prohibition, didn't they? Occasionally for days on end.
Cutter's best friend.
My Charger's got a bad battery, what will I do?
Oh, no, you're too old.
Richard Bone.
Buy some vitamin E.
Well, it's been better for me, too.
He's drunk.
I have to give that another try.
Makes you say that.
Their life together wasn't exactly ordinary, but they never bargained for Cutter's fantasy.
Is there Richard Bone here? Crushed trachea, fractured skull, 17 years old.
That's him.
This young friend of yours is pursuing some fantasy of his own, and includes me.
Whatever we do falls under the heading of justice.
Dishonorable and gutless.
So what are you gonna do?
It's not a question of what I'm gonna do. It's a question of what you're gonna do with the time you got left. I'd say that you're the one that ought to be very, very careful, not us. You're the witness, remember?
I've got one big problem.
What's that?
Your imagination.
I haven't even begun to let my imagination loose on this one.
John Hurd, Jeff Bridges, and Lisa Eichhorn in Cutter's Way, a film by Ivan Passer from UA Classics.
And there is Cutter's Way, directed by Ivan Passer, who was big in the Czech New Wave cinema, if that means anything to you.
Which we're all familiar with.
Yeah.
There was a Czech New Wave?
I don't know what the old wave was.
Yeah, who else was a part of it then?
I think Milos Forman, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So what do you guys think? Let's start with your reactions.
Let's start with Matt, I guess.
I was into it, I think. Yeah. You definitely forgive a lot because it's an older movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's some weird editing and some odd choices and stuff, but overall, I kind of dug it.
Well, it's funny. Like I felt like it was kind of, if you were to modernize this movie and shoot it exactly the same way, it had kind of a P.T. Anderson vibe to it. In so many ways, maybe take some of his style out. But if you just shot like a straight P.T. Anderson movie,
okay,
it was very melodramatic or talky at times.
Yes, it loves the dialogue.
It loves stopping and like sitting in a conversation for a while. But it was kind of like a low rent James Bond.
James Bond. Yeah. International intrigue.
Well, it just like, there's the tragic female figure who ends up perishing. I feel like that's a common theme in James Bond films,
right? Or half of the Bond girls
Lethal
always
Weapon
die.
movies, that kind of thing. Like, I'm not really sure what the movie was trying to say. Like, it was kind of all over the place, like politically.
Yeah, well, I think it had a strong political message if you go into it looking for that. Unfortunately, I think the movie failed when it was released because it was advertised, as we can see from the trailer, as sort of a comedic thriller.
Yeah.
And it does have funny lines and funny moments, especially from Alex Cutter. But as a thriller, it doesn't even totally work. It's more interesting when you're just with the characters and you're kind of seeing how fucked up all their lives are. This is a very cynical movie.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think.
you showed me the trailer.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's such a different movie than what the trailer. The trailer's like
how...
kind of like Cutter's way, and his buddy pal gets to beat up the people around him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not it's like that movie at all.
I don't even know if it's a thriller. It's really just a drama with some violence in it.
Yeah, the violent act at the beginning of the movie is just this inciting incident which moves these characters down this path. But
it gets a little noirish.
It gets a little noirish. Yeah. What did you guys think of the cinematography by Jordan Cronenweth, who the next year did Blade Runner?
I was gonna say was Blade Runner in production for so long, and maybe post that maybe this was shot after.
It's possible. I don't know.
But
this is certainly a much simpler movie than Blade Runner.
It's always hard to tell because you get these old films that it looked like it was composed beautifully, kind of generally lit beautifully, but then you can't really tell because it's so muddy. And
right, it had a lot of like
4K restoration or anything like that. It's not.
Right.
Yeah, it looked good. Looked fine. I wouldn't have known it was the guy who shot Blade Runner. But...
No, there was one scene in particular where Mo and Bone are in bed together, and he turns on the side table lamp, and the entire room gets like hit with some 2K light, and I was like, oh no, couldn't we have made that look a little more sourcey from that lamp? It was just a blasting overhead kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the old school. Matt would probably know more about. I mean, but like the old days, like soft light was like a bad word. It was definitely like hard lights.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'd say maybe around this time you start getting more and more into softer sources.
Diffusion so like existed only on the lens back in the day. I feel like.
You have to go farther back. There's definitely diffusion in the 60s and 70s, and I don't know. I'm curious. Maybe this movie was a little different than the style at the time. I couldn't really tell you.
Well, the biggest movie of this year was Raiders of the Lost Ark. How does it compare cinema?
There's definitely a lot of hard light in Raiders of the Lost Ark for sure.
I mean, I feel like if this were to come out now, it'd probably have a better. It'd be received a little bit more.
Yeah, I think
warmly. But I try to imagine selling this movie to the like flyover states back in the day. I feel like I'm gonna watch this movie about these.
This is a real LA and New York only kind of movie, I think.
These two like generally liberal dudes like living in Santa Barbara who want to take down, the Exxon. Exxon.
Well, was that Bones' arc? Was that he was kind of just blasé about everything, and then he learned to kind of come to Cutter's side, and that the establishment or whoever needs to be taken down by the very, very end?
It's really hard to even see that happen, though, because up to the last, near the final scene when he's driving the car in, he's still trying to talk Cutter out of this thing. Like, Mo was depressed. She could have burned the house down herself. Right. We don't have to do this. And then just somewhere in between that second and then chasing after Cutter, who goes off on his own, he goes, all right, I'm in. But the politics of the movie, I think, are really interesting. I always go back to that little speech Cutter has where you have 3 reactions to seeing the war on TV. 1 is, I hate America. 2 is, there is no God. And then 3, I'm hungry. Everybody just kind of moves on, but Cutter is not allowed to because he's wearing the war on his body. He's missing a leg, an arm, and an eye. He can't escape it. Yeah. He doesn't get to go home or ignore it or just turn it off. And I think he's so tired of trying to deal with the world that doesn't really see all this violence happening and all the badness in the world that he's been looking for a reason to step up and be this kind of like, no, we have to take down the man. He's been looking for this moment, and it just sort of falls in his lap. Yeah. So he's obsessed, and he's coming up. Even when it's reasonable to think that this guy Cord did not commit the murder, he never wavers. He's 100% in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the contrast to that is Bone, who didn't fight in the war, who has this thread of like always walking away. People keep on saying he just walks away. He says he tries not to think. He doesn't have anything to say. He is the guy who doesn't want to get involved, like in anything. He doesn't want to settle down to a real job. He doesn't have his own house. I read the book, and there's a lot more detail into that too. And that character in the book actually used to be married and had like a corporate job, and then eventually had to walk away from it all because he didn't belong in that world. But he's sort of the guy who can never make a decision. And I guess it's sort of... I find the contrast between these characters very interesting. Somehow they are friends.
Right. Yeah. Well, is it kind of the... I mean, I guess Jeff Bridges' character is really like the metaphor character for everyone in America.
Yeah.
Is that what they're trying to say? Is that people are just kind of passive cows and like they understand who the enemy is, but they don't care enough to do anything about it?
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Is that... that's what I got out of it, because he says right away, very clearly, that's the guy.
Yeah.
He killed him, and then he basically doesn't say that again. He backs off of it until the very end when he says it and comes back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, we all know who the bad guys are, but we're so complacent.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And in this case, it's some sort of industry leader.
Right.
A capitalist
It might as well be oil.
He was on oil company. He was on the cover of Time magazine.
Right.
You know, Man of the Year, whatever it was.
Right. It's hard to make your main character so passive. I mean, that's one of the things they say never to do in screenwriting. Is like eventually you can be passive for so long, and eventually you got to be making choices and stuff. And literally, I don't think he makes a choice until 30 seconds until the movie ends.
Well, yeah, his choice is to always go, nope, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Is he a good, like, he doesn't strike me as a very good person.
None of them do.
None of them really are. Like, even Cutter's like a complete racist. He's just like...
And a wife beater.
He's an alcoholic.
Mo is an alcoholic. I think they're all probably alcoholics on some level.
Yeah. That's why I like Cutter so much. He kind of made the movie for me.
John Hurt's performance is amazing.
He's great.
How did he not become huge?
How did he
because nobody saw this movie.
How did he channel Richard Dreyfuss that way?
Yeah, but yeah, like you guys saying, he's kind of racist. He's a drunk. He's a asshole. He doesn't care about other people's property, but at the same time, he kind of has a strong moral compass. This crime has been committed, and we got to be.
I was just gonna say,
to justice.
I think his wildness and his energy and all of the choices that he is making are enough to make up for Bone not wanting to make any choices.
Yeah,
because Bone is caught in Cutter's wake. He's just pulling him along wherever he goes.
Besides just sleeping with random women, including his buddy's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were they married? I wasn't totally sure on all the...
They were married, yeah.
Okay. Well, if not married, they were in a partnership. Clearly.
I
think I did see a wedding band on her finger. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, you would notice that more now. But yeah, I mean, they slept in the same bed. They lived in the same house. I understood it to be married.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't understand.
In the book, they also had a baby who was also killed in the house fire.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, so that was probably a good call to take the baby out of the movie.
So why did he sleep with her? Do we believe him when he says he loved her?
That's a really good question.
I think I don't know, just the basis of what I got is that he's definitely like a ladies' man who's constantly like going after the next one.
Right.
And maybe she saw that before it happened. And let them, had sex with him anyway, and then that's where the depression angle came out of. Do you think that she was actually murdered, or do you think she actually did burn the house down and kill herself?
I think Cord burned the house down.
Really?
Yeah.
I think she actually killed herself.
That's a weird way to do it, though, isn't it?
Burn the whole house down?
Yeah.
I mean...
I like to think that Cord did it because it makes everything more digestible for me.
Right, and at the end when he puts the glasses back on and he says, "Is that an
admittance of guilt?" He's like, "Well, if I'm going with my glasses on.
I'm going in style."
I figured putting the glasses on was something a way of saying like I'm untouchable. I'm this rich guy. The stuff reflects off me like the way stuff reflects. I'm protecting myself with these glasses from justice ever achieving me. That's how
I saw it as the last time you saw me, I was wearing these. Like this is what I was wearing.
Did we actually see him at the time?
I don't remember.
I don't remember seeing like when
in the beginning.
In the beginning,
there was like there was a big silhouette of a guy. Yeah.
But do we see his glasses or anything like that?
You could see the silhouette, like on the side of his head. You could see he was wearing sunglasses.
Because all I remember
it wasn't very well.
It was in the rain.
It was dark and
it
was deliberately obfuscated.
I mean, even if she did burn herself alive, like, do you think that the guy's guilty? Yes.
Yes.
It's an admittance of guilt when he puts the glasses on and is like, "Come get me, motherfucker."
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
You know what this movie reminds me of? Once Upon a Time in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Once Upon a Time Los Angeles? In Los Angeles?
Is that the name of the movie?
In Hollywood?
No, Once Upon a Time in Los Angeles.
No, I have not seen
what?
Los Angeles? I think it's the same mind. The guy who did The Exorcist.
William Friedkin. To Live and Die in L.A.?
Yes, the other one.
Oh my God, I hit my head on the mic stand.
To Live and Die in L.A. Yeah, you know.
Once Upon a Time in L.A.
Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen that either, no.
I think I watched that with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't spoil it for Matt then, but I feel like it had a very similar...
It sounds like they die on the end based on the title.
Pace and just like the surprises of the movie that kind of come. I mean, I the thing that was refreshing about this movie in a way, to me, was it's still everything about it. It didn't really kind of hold punches. It did kind of go where I feel like a modern film might not.
Mm-hmm.
Which was it's like freeing to kind of go back and kind of see that kind of. Like cinema, basically, because I feel like it doesn't really happen, or it's if it was done now, this movie would be like very quirky and in the style of like, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or something, something that has a little bit more style to it. And this is kind of like a styleless movie in a way.
Yeah, it does sort of just try to present things dry. And let you make
there
up
is
your
a
own
noir.
mind.
I would say it's more noir than anything, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys see any Big Lebowski similarities?
A little bit.
I never actually finished that movie.
Big Lebowski?
Yeah, I've never seen it. Only at the very end when they bring him into they carry him into the room, Cord's room. That kind of felt Lebowski-ish to me. Because doesn't that happen? So a rich guy brings Lebowski into.
Well, there was Jackie Treehorn
brought in, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, there are. There's like...
there's a few similarities, like Walter in Big Lebowski is packing heat no matter where he goes, just like Alex Cutter in this movie, shooting at the shooting gallery and exploding that doll they win. But it's also like the amateurs trying to pull off a heist or a crime of some kind, like the what are they? The nihilists in Big Lebowski. They kidnapped Bunny, but she was never really kidnapped.
Right.
Sorry, I just spoiled that movie.
Speaking of which, what happened to the sister character?
Yeah, she just kind of forgot about her.
She goes to L.A. with them and then just disappears.
Yeah. Yeah, she never comes back. Man, that's kind of a writing problem, isn't it?
I mean, I guess they don't really need.
Oh my God!
Back. They didn't even have a denouement.
Cord killed her too.
I mean, this movie did not have a denouement. It just ends.
Yes.
Yeah. I appreciate that more and more
yeah.
these days. Like, make it short as possible.
What would we put after that moment? Like, we end on a gunshot. He's the only one with a gun in the room.
He would clearly go to jail, and there'd be a big trial. And
if the guards at this party didn't just shoot him on the spot, because they were shooting at Cutter on the horse.
Right.
They were shooting guns at a fucking garden party.
Well, that's
one obvious thing seems to be like bring the sister back, and maybe talking to Bone, in prison or something. They're in the
and just be
glass.
like, "Yeah, we got him." Something like that. I want to spoil the book for you a little bit. It the whole thing culminates in Alex and Richard going out of state, like the guy lives in Nebraska or something in the Midwest, I think, and have a similar kind of confrontation, but it's not at a party. And Bone kind of gets onto the property. He's trying to warn the rich guy who has a different name in the book that Cutter's on his way, and he's like trying to kill him, but he gets hassled by a couple cowhands or something, gets the shit kicked out of him, and they let him go. And as he's driving back to the hotel to be like, look, I warned him, you can't do this stuff anymore. Those guys who work for Cord, they blow him away on the road. They pull up next to him and shoot him. So it's very, very heavily implied that the whole family was in.
Cutter, or they kill?
They kill Bone.
Bone. Oh wow.
Yeah. Cutter's in a hospital at that point.
Ending.
Yeah.
How old's the book?
It's from 76, I think.
Oh, okay.
The movie was made 5 years after it was made. Yeah.
War in 75? Vietnam?
Sure. History was always my worst subject. I really am not good at it. I think my favorite part of the movie definitely is the character of Cutter. He is one of the most unpredictable characters I've ever seen. I cannot tell you what's going through his mind at any time.
It took me a while to get settled into his character, because it's like
he talks a mile a minute.
Once he settled down a bit, I was like, okay, now I'm starting to understand his character. But before, it was just kind of annoying to me.
Yeah.
Those are the best kinds of movies where, like, man, this character's really an asshole, and I don't like them. Not even in a way where like, oh, you love to hate them or anything. Like, no, this guy's just a jerk, and then you're rooting for him by the end.
Yeah, you want him to.
Because he was the only one who had so much resolve.
He was single-minded.
He was the only one.
Yeah. And then there's a white horse theme I noticed throughout the film. Early on.
What Cord is riding in the parade, and that's what stops. That's what stops Bone in the road.
Right.
When he's just driving down the street, there's a horse crossing.
Right. Mo says she's waiting for a prince or whatever to come on a white horse.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And then white horse that Cutter rode on at the end when he died.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
So it's got some levels to it. You're right. Yeah, that's why you said you wanted to see it again. It's got some layers to it, which was nice.
I think there's a lot.
I mean, I didn't know what to expect from the movie, to be honest. Like, I actually probably enjoyed it far more than I expected.
Good. That's the idea.
Matt, did you have that similar sort of?
Yeah, I dug it.
Not knowing anything about going into this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, no one has heard of this movie.
It makes sense, though, that nobody would have. I mean, if it came out at a time, let's say the book wasn't popular. I assume it was a little bit if you heard about it. But I've never heard of it. I mean, I don't know. 81, this probably played in a few theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went straight to, like, the dollar theater. And then where would it have gone? Like, was it on VHS? Doubtful.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It probably just disappeared from the face of the earth until it popped up recently. Somebody somewhere had to. I mean, if Jeff Bridges were not in this movie, I doubt we would have seen this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it would have just disappeared, and it'd be sitting on a Betamax somewhere in a basement.
Maybe in the final years of his life, John Hurd made a concerted effort to get this movie out in front of more eyeballs. Thank you, John Hurd. He's dead.
Probably from all the cigarettes he had to smoke in this movie. To be honest. When did he pass away?
It was a few years ago, 4 years ago.
Wasn't like a freak, like not freak, but like he died very young, right?
Relatively young. I think he was only in his late 50s, maybe early 60s.
Is he a Chicago-based actor?
Yes, theater guy.
John Hughes, was he in more than Home Alone, or was he only?
Oh, he was in Home Alone 2. he was a bad.
I feel like I've seen him in multiple things. What else was he in?
He was one of the bad guys in Big. He was like the workplace competition in that movie.
I only saw him in an adaptation of Scarlet Letter.
Oh.
There you go.
You kept saying, "Oh, John Hurd's in this movie." I'm like, who the fuck is John Hurd?
Not John Hurt.
I know.
John Hurd.
And then you showed me the picture of him, and I was like, I don't recognize that guy at all. Only a few times in this movie when he stops like moving around does he really look like, oh, it's a dad from Home Alone.
When he stops acting like a spastic cripple.
But he really does just look straight up like Richard Dreyfuss in this movie to me.
Did Richard Dreyfuss have a beard in Jaws?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can see a little similarity.
It was kind of like a mesh of all the Jaws characters into one. I don't know. I there was several actors in the movie that I thought I recognized. You said the sister character was not someone who went on to act.
Not majorly. I think the last thing she was in was 2005, and it was nothing I had heard of.
Okay, but I think there's various characters in the movie actors in the movie that seem like they've gone on to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the neighbor character. Cutter comes home and smashes his car. I know I've seen that guy in some stuff. Still to this day, I think.
I kept seeing my friend every time I saw Cutter. Every time I looked at him, I'm like, oh my god, so much like him.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Tell him to grow his hair out.
Yeah.
You do that for Halloween. Is Big Lebowski the sequel to this movie?
Well, I really wonder about that. I haven't
Santa
seen
Barbara? Well, no, they're not. One's in Malibu.
One's in Malibu. Well, Jackie Treehorn's in Malibu.
Once
I think
upon a time in Malibu.
Yeah.
To live and die in Malibu.
Die in Malibu.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Totally forgot.
I mean, so outside of the fact that Twilight Time put this on Blu-ray, so it's obviously they rescanned the movie recently. If it's on Google Play, so it's out there for people to see. It's not just like one of those movies you can only find on YouTube because some rando.
Right. Like I know it was on DVD before this, but I think the DVD is a little hard to find now. So I'm glad they're putting it out on Blu-ray. But I'm sure that whatever scan they did for the Blu-ray is what we watched on Google Play.
Yeah.
Yeah, look fine.
You know, aside from some compression things, it's some of the scenes in the movie were very gray because there's so much smoke inside the police station and things, and all that sort of, you can see where the compression is breaking it down.
I think it was worth it. I couldn't tell you another movie that Jordan Cronenweth shot offhand. I mean, obviously he's famous for Blade Runner, and his son Jeff has gone on to do big movies.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordan himself, I couldn't tell you. So I think for that aspect alone, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just simplistic, naturalistic, like lighting, or more normal settings. It looks like they didn't shoot on stage for any of this, but maybe they did. I mean, who knows? That's the trickery, eh?
Yeah, if it was on a stage, they fooled me. The house could have been. But then they had to burn down a house.
Yeah, and it looked
like that was else.
I noticed that they had the same bed frame in there from the bedroom, like the bed that they were sleeping in.
Oh.
And everything that was arranged around it was the exact same in the fire. So it almost made me wonder, like, maybe they just came back and just burnt the set to the ground.
They could have.
Like, because the same bed was in there, the bed frame was in there.
Don't they do that? Like, when they know they have to destroy some building, they'll talk to the fire department
Uncle
and see if
Owen
they have
and
to...
Aunt Beru were in there, too.
I saw that. Okay.
Did you, from the moment they slept together, I knew she was going to die. Actually, from before, did you guys have that feeling?
I didn't think that when I first saw the movie, because I thought that we were going down a road where Cord didn't commit the murders and these guys were full of shit, and they're a bunch of, like, poor slobs just trying to make a big win with blackmail. I didn't think it was actually going to be that they were correct.
That's what the worst going to go.
So I didn't see another murder coming.
I did not see that coming, no. And I thought he did it the whole time.
Yeah. The whole time that he was over there, that was where the movie kind of lost some steam for me. When they went back into her, I thought she was an interesting character, but the way it kind of fell in that moment, it felt like the weird time for him to just go back and be with her the whole night.
Yeah, it was weird.
And it just kind of like slowed the movie down, and then the next day she's dead. Mm-hmm. But the whole time he was over there, I expected Like, especially when he was standing by the window, I expected a rock to be thrown through or something, you know, because it was right after Cutter goes to L.A. and goes to Cord to basically try to blackmail him. So I expected retaliation almost immediately.
Okay.
Which, you know, if you think that Cord burned down the house, then, you know, it did come immediately, basically. It came the same night, just not when Jeff Bridges was there.
Right. Anything else to add?
Did it hold up better for you the second time?
I liked it more the second time.
Yeah.
And I think what you were saying about Cutter, he's got so much dialogue, and he's constantly making jokes for the first half of the movie. You're not even catching what he's really saying, or what he's referring to. Second time through, I could tell more about his character.
Right.
And he sort of leans on his injuries, literally, because he's got a fake leg and a cane. He uses that to his advantage after he smashes the neighbor's car twice deliberately. He goes out, talks to the cops, and gets them on his side because he's a war veteran. He's been severely wounded.
All about duty.
Yeah.
I was impressed in the scene where Cutter and Mo are on the bed and Cutter's getting undressed. They must have put him cut a hole in the bed and put his leg in it because he just straight up takes off his pants. It's like, oh, there's a fake leg right there. Like it was done in a way I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh wow, and then
the next two shots as well when he takes his shirt off.
Yeah,
and he's.
Yeah, and the arm was well hidden.
Front.
Yeah, they shot it from the front and the back.
So they clearly makeup had a fun day.
Yeah. That was pretty impressive in that they didn't oh look, now we're showing a cool fake leg trick.
Gary Sinise him, yeah.
Yeah, so that was well done. That was cool.
It was surprising in a way. I thought it was very interesting, and I would say well worth a watch if somebody wants to.
Yeah,
go buy the Twilight Blu-ray.
There you go.
There's only 3,000 copies.
And it has a commentary.
I will say when those Blu-rays sell out, they're fucking impossible to find. They go up to $75.
So are you giving our listeners some investment advice?
Yeah.
We are not FDIC insured.
Yeah, Twilight time.
Why don't we get some? Yeah, let's get some ad revenue from Twilight Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Well, if you like neo-noirs, like The Long Goodbye, which we've done a different episode on, or perhaps Once Upon a Time in Los Angeles. I mean, To Live and Die in LA. I would give this movie a watch for sure.
Or P.T. Anderson movies. Maybe.
Yeah,
no one agrees with me.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, gang.
Matt, you got anything to plug before we go?
The last episode of Dungeons and Dragon Wagon is coming out very soon. Ooh. Or at least of this first book one, I suppose.
Story.
Okay.
How many total episodes did you guys do?
20. Minus the prologue. So 10 chapters.
An hour long each?
Counting the mezzanine.
Not counting the mezzanine. They range from an hour to an hour and a half, each one. But we cut out all the filler. So nothing but gold each episode. So if you're not listening to that, you should check that out.
Nice. Mark?
I plan to listen to that.
You should. It's good.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay, until next time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
It's Dragon Wagon.
Chad, we've got a guest with us today. It's Jake Lloyd. Hello, Jake.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Jake, you have a podcast on the same network we do.
Yes, I do. That podcast is called Elaborate. And in fact, the man with 3 first names, Chad Philip Peter, has actually been on an episode of said podcast.
Why, yes, I have, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, I sit down with friends of mine, mostly the creative types, and I sort of dive into their lives. I learn about them in ways that I didn't know previously. And I just sort of figure out what makes them tick. If you're into podcasts where you sort of get life stories, you get life lessons, and you pretty much just learn about why, you would really love my show, Elaborate.
That sounds really interesting. Where can I find it?
You can find it at elaboratepod.com or wherever podcasts are found. iTunes, Stitcher, CastBox, Google Play Music, the whole lot of them.